Deep in the autumn of 1864, as icy Kansas winds carved scars across the endless Great Plains, a ragged cluster of sod houses clung to life in a place called Tamberville, a godforsaken outpost no map bothered to claim. Chapter 1. Isolation of Tamberville. Imagine 12 desperate families, 48 souls strong, mostly German and Irish immigrants fleeing eastern city slums under the Homestead Act's shiny lure of free land. They'd rolled in during spring 1863, each snagging 160 acres for a pittance, visions of cornfields and cattle dancing in their heads. Reality hit like a prairie storm. Locusts stripped the first harvest bare. Drought turned the second to dust. By October, they gnawed on shriveled potatoes, stringy rabbit, and handfuls of bitter weeds. Mail? A monthly miracle from a Pony Express rider who might just vanish. The closest army fort? 80 grueling miles northwest, 3 days' ride through Cheyenne turf, where riders ended up as arrow fodder. Tamberville was doomed from day one, a coffin lid creaking in the wind. Elias Gruber, a hulking Bavarian ex-butcher with a face like chewed leather and a prized Spencer repeating rifle from a St. Louis poker pot, muscled into leadership. "This dirt's ours by God-given right," he'd roar by the campfire, breath fogging the chill air. But even his bluster cracked under the signs. Dusk shadows slithered on the bluffs. Silent arrows, feathers quivering, thudded into sod walls, pinning scraps of hide etched with warnings no one could decipher. Livestock melted away, a milk cow first, then 6 hogs, blood trails mocking them into the nothingness. Fear crept in like frostbite. Widow Lena Mueller, 29, and forged hard by burying her cholera-claimed husband on the trail west, shattered one night with screams that woke the outpost. "Die, Stimmen! The voices on the wind!" she gasped to the huddled faces around the fire, clutching her 2 wide-eyed boys. "They're chanting for our blood, low, like thunder calling death." The men chuckled it off at first, blaming grief and rot-gut whiskey. "Nerves, Frau Mueller," Elias grunted. "Prairie's playing tricks." Then came the night that broke the laughter, October 22nd, under a bloated blood-red harvest moon. Little Carl Becker, 5 years old with freckles and a gap-toothed grin, toddled 50 yards from the stockade for kindling. His mother, Greta, turned to stir the stew. 1 heartbeat later, he was gone. They scoured till sunrise, trampled grass, a lone moccasin print deep in the mud, and Carl's tiny shoe, smeared with fresh, sticky blood, dropped like a devil's taunt at the gate. No cry, no body, just erased. Elias doubled patrols, rusty muskets rattling in shaky grips. They patched the flimsy cottonwood stockade, but storms splintered new cracks. Flour sacks sparked fistfights. Hope curdled to whispers of retreat. "The red devils are circling," Lena hissed one evening, eyes hollow. "Testing us, breaking us before the knife falls." High on the bluffs, unseen, a Cheyenne warrior called Lame Coyote tracked every desperate move. His left leg, twisted from a cavalry ball years prior, dragged like a shadow's curse, but vengeance burned pure in his gaze. He'd endured the Creek Massacre the previous November, where Colonel Chivington's militia hacked down 230 Cheyenne, mostly women and children, carving trophies from the dead. That bloodbath ignited the plains. Lame Coyote rallied 8 elite dog soldiers, ghosts in black paint, silent reapers. They'd haunted Tamberville's edges for weeks, nipping, probing. One storm-lashed night soon, they'd descend, not for honor, but oblivion. And as another arrow whispered into the dark, Tamberville's fragile thread was fraying fast. As the blood-stained shoe of little Carl Becker lay abandoned at Tamberville's gate, the settlers clung to their crumbling hope, unaware that high on the bluffs, Lame Coyote and his dog soldiers were already weaving the noose. Chapter 2. Legend of Lame Coyote. Wakiza wasn't born a killer. The white man's lead forged him into Lame Coyote. In the summer of 1857, as a wiry 16-year-old herding ponies near Fort Laramie, He'd watched US cavalry slaughter his uncle in a drunken brawl over a stolen cup of sugar. A stray bullet shattered his left leg, leaving it twisted and dragging, a Cheyenne curse he turned to legend. The coyote walks lame but hunts eternal, his elders whispered, dubbing him after the trickster spirit who thrived on pain. By 1864, at 23, he'd risen among the Dog Soldiers, the elite Cheyenne warriors who vowed death before dishonor, their black-painted bodies vanishing like smoke in battle. The Sand Creek Massacre the previous November lit his soul ablaze. Colonel John Chivington, drunk on ambition and manifest destiny, led 700 militia volunteers to a peaceful Cheyenne Arapaho camp, flying an American flag under treaty protection. They butchered 230 souls, babies dashed on bayonets, pregnant mothers gutted, scalps and genitals paraded as trophies back in Denver. Lame Coyote's sister was among them, her frozen body mutilated. He survived by hiding in a creek bed, legs screaming, vowing revenge not just on soldiers, but every white encroachment. Their settlements are the head of the snake, he'd rasped to his men around sacred fires. Cut it off, and the body withers. He handpicked 8 dog soldiers for Tamberville, hardened ghosts like Tall Bull, a knife master with 17 scalps notched on his lance, and White Antelope's son, a silent archer whose arrows never missed lungs. They called themselves the Night Shadows, slipping through grass like wolves, living off roots and stolen cattle. For 3 weeks, they'd probed the outpost, testing patrols with feathered arrows, chanting war songs on winds to fray nerves, snatching Carl as proof of weakness. The whites scatter like frightened quail, Lame Coyote grinned, his lame leg no hindrance as he crawled miles unseen. But this wasn't blind rage, it was a masterpiece of Cheyenne cunning. Under starless skies, they built a plan drawn in the dirt, strike during the next thunderstorm, when rain would swallow screams and erase tracks. Lame Coyote scouted Tamberville obsessively, noting the stockade's weak east gate splintered by storms, Elias Gruber's patrol routes, even Lena Mueller's lantern-lit vigils for her lost boy. They'd use buffalo robes for silent approaches, rawhide lassos to yank guards from walls, and fire arrows dipped in pitch to sow chaos. No prisoners, no mercy, total erasure, bodies burned to deny the whites even graves. One dusk, as thunder grumbled promises on the horizon, Lame Coyote gathered his men in a hidden arroyo. He passed the sacred pipe, eyes gleaming. Brothers, tonight the storm spirit walks with us. Tamberville dies at midnight. Their blood will sing to Sand Creek's ghosts. The dog soldiers nodded, painting their faces blacker than sin, lances thirsty. Far below, Elias Gruber stared at gathering clouds, muttering prayers, while Lena clutched Carl's bloody shoe, whispering, "Come back, mein Schatz." The noose tightened. Midnight loomed, and as lightning cracked the sky, hell rode down from the bluffs. Thunder cracked like the bones of the damned as the storm unleashed fury over Tamberville, rain pounding sod roofs and churning earth to mire. But midnight on November 3rd, 1864, delivered not mercy, but the end of worlds. Chapter 3. Night of the Massacre. The deluge hit at 11:47 p.m., a thunderous ally for Lame Coyote's night shadows. 9 warriors, faces slick with bear grease and ash, eyes pits of vengeance, ghosted down bluffs in buffalo robes, silent as prayers unanswered. Lame Coyote dragged his twisted leg through mud, flanked by Tall Bull's scalp knives gleaming wet, and White Antelope's son with pitch arrows smouldering on hidden embers. Weeks of cunning paid off. East gate hinges gnawed by hidden blades, patrols drawn thin by ghost lows of cattle in the gale. Elias Gruber stalked the stockade wall, Spencer rifle oil slick in his fists, snarling into the roar. "Verdammt storm! Drown the devils before they drown us!" he spat to Jacob Klein, the shaky 19-year-old sentry clutching a musket like a cross. Lightning clawed the sky, shadows writhed in the flash, then a rawhide lasso sang from black, snaring Jacob's neck with a wet crunch, yanking him into the void. Elias whirled, thunder devouring the first war whoops as fire arrows streaked like comets, kissing haystacks and rooftops in hungry orange. The gates splintered under axes. Dog soldiers poured through. Ghosts made flesh. Chaos clawed the settlement alive. Lena Mueller jolted awake in her dugout, the reek of wet earth and fear sweat thick, arrows hissing through chinks, one furrowing her shoulder hot and wet. "Carl, die Stimmen! They've come!" she rasped, snatching a butcher knife, shoving her boys toward the root cellar's maw. Tall Bull loomed in the doorway, a painted spectre. Lena lunged, blade biting his arm in a spray that brought heartbeats. "Go! Live!" she hissed to her sons, meeting his strikes steel on steel, then crumpling as darkness claimed her voice amid the drumming rain. Hell bloomed everywhere. Heinrich Voss herded his family into the barn, barricading with plough beams. Lame Coyote himself torched the door, smoke coiling like serpents as choked pleas turned to silence. Greta Becker, Carl's mother, lunged at White Antelope's son with clawing hands, wailing her lost boy's name. His knife opened her red and final. Her fight ended in the mud's cold embrace. Elias raged from the wall, Spencer thundering. Two warriors spun into eternity, red flowers bursting on chests, but a tomahawk whispered end, cracking his temple, pitching him into the fray below. Mercy was a myth that night. The air stank of powder, urine terror, and iron blood. Cabins became traps of splintered hope. By 2 a.m., fires hissed out under rain, leaving 48 lives as smoke and shadow. Lame Coyote stood in the heart of ruin, gore streaking his paint to rivers, pipe lifted to storm gods. "The snake lies broken," he breathed. His shadows melted away, scalps dangling, loot slung, prairie swallowing their trail. Dawn clawed grey over embers. No victory song greeted the sun, only a lone survivor. 12-year-old Fritz Möller, Lena's eldest, who'd burrowed rat-deep in the cellar amid his brother's sobs. He emerged pale as bone, whispering of shadows and Mama's knife, eyes dead. Pony Express found him 3 days on, raving of ghosts. But Fritz's fractured tail barely scratched official ink. Tamberville's vanishing sealed in whispers, its ghosts hungry for the truth still buried. 3 days after the storm's wrath, when the Pony Express rider stumbled across Fritz Mueller, huddled like a ghost amid Tamberville's charred bones, the outpost's slaughter didn't just end. It was erased. Chapter 4. Oblivion and Myths. Fritz Mueller, Lena's 12-year-old, clawed from the root cellar alone, his little brother crushed silent beneath fallen beams. Ashen and trembling, he babbled to Fort Larned scouts on November 6th. Black ghosts lassoed Jacob, fire arrows birthed demons. Mama cut the devil's arm, screamed, "Live!" Captain Amos Hardy scribbled it terse. Tamberville, KS, 47 killed, 1 survivor. Indian depredations. No dog soldiers named, no lame coyote. Why? Sand Creek's stink still choked Denver. Chivington's victory teetered under inquiry. Admitting elite Cheyenne gutted a settlement. Militia would crack, homesteaders would bolt, Washington would howl. Whispers jagged through Kansas. Leavenworth Times, November 15th. Plains savagery, 48 souls lost. St. Louis German sheets wailed, Tamberville bloodbad. Elias Gruber minted, butcher hero. His twisted Spencer a talisman in ashes. Lena became Plains Madonna, her butcher knife folklored as Saint Steel. Fritz, hallucinated storm winds, some swore, or lame coyote as coyote spirit, limp howling eternal. By 1865, maps spat Tamberville out. Buffalo grass reclaimed it, neighbors too spooked to plow. The night shadows struck twice more. Smoky Hill wagon gutted December. Republican river surveyors scalped spring 65. Tamberville twine knotted in trophies. Lame coyote fell Beecher Island, 1868. Tomahawk high against Forsyth scouts, his chant eternal. The lame one beheaded the snake. Official history? Blank. Sand Creek probes, Grant's treaties, railroad boosterism swallowed it. Fritz drifted east, mute in asylums by 1870, rasping final in 1889. Ghosts sing Mama's fight. Today, Highway 156's crooked marker reads, Tamberville site, Cheyenne raid, 1864. No tactics, no names. Ghost hunters chase stormwind chants. Diggers hunt Lena's knife. In 1921, a plough turned up Elias's scalp, 17 hairs knotted Cheyenne style, tossed as curio, now lost. Tamberville festers as America's buried cut, vengeance meeting isolation, myths outliving meat. Listen close, the wind still carries Fritz's warning.